There we go. There we go. I swear I am I did go to bed and I did change my clothes technically. I got into my pajamas and then out of my pajamas, but here I am. I gotta remember that it takes me a few minutes to tag on here. Let me see what I can do. So, good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. The sun is shining where I am, spreading sunshine. Nice to see you. Thank you for spreading the sunshine outside my window today. We've got some nice sun today after yesterday was very gray um, and stuff like that there. Cheryl, nice to see you. And I just realized here, let me do this. I would so much rather see um, your chat, the chat larger than my large face. So nice to see you. So it is the romper room portion of the show. So good morning. Uh, Good morning, Spreading Sunshine. Good morning, Cheryl with an S and Leslie, Barb and Teresa, that one persona, Luann and Judy Dukes. Good morning. Yay. Look at what we're doing. And Teresa's in Iowa. All righty. Um, Cedar Rapids. I used to work with people from Cedar Rapids. Carla Jane, good morning. I hope you are laying in bed getting some rest. I hope you got a good night's sleep. I got a pretty good night's sleep myself. That's something to celebrate. Um, and here we are on the first Friday. Is it yeah, it is the first Friday of February. I can't even believe that January is already kind of in the rear view mirror. But that's how things go. Is ideally we have days ahead of us and we have days behind us. And I don't know about you, and I don't want to be nosy, but I probably have fewer days ahead of me than I do behind me. So I want to make the most of the time I have. And part of me doing that is to help you make the most of the time you have. Uh, Setting your destination decluttered. I got to figure out how to switch this camera. It is totally jamming up where I have been pointing at things for the last 2 years. So having a destination in mind, what's your destination even for the next hour? Notice what I did. Instead of destination life or year or month or week or day, notice each one of those gets smaller and smaller. What's your destination between now and 9 a.m. Eastern today? Now, my destination would be to encourage you, to remind you of the courage you have, to encourage you to pay attention to yourself, your physical body, your mental body, but also the hollerings of your heart, as Jen Sincero might call it. So what are the things you want to do? And while you may not get there today, what could you do today to even start them? Okay. So I love this. I love this because Spreading Sunshine says my goal for Saturday is to take another round of stuff to the Salvation Army. Awesome. So maybe today between 8 and 9 while we're chatting, you could walk around your house and kind of identify things. I spy with my little eye something that I could take to the Salvation Army tomorrow. Um, that one persona actually is just reminding everybody to do a thumbs up on the live, and I see we've got 19 people here and 13 thumbs, so pretty cool. And Kat Roby, queen of Destination Decluttered, scheduled Beth Blinders, making the most of our time together. She says, "Hey yo, scheduled Beth Blinders." That's her thing. She liked the live. Check. Now to process my mail. It's all in a box I've been toting around this crazy week. Wonderful. Wonderful for doing the mail and doing the mail sooner rather than later. So good on you, Kat Roby. Okay, Leslie says, based on your great advice last night, so in case you early birds today, I did a YouTube live last night at 8 o'clock Eastern, and I'm going to do at least one a week at that time. It was kind of fun to have a different vibe. It was, instead of the beginning of the day, like we're getting all started with the sunshine in the sky, or there ain't a cloud in sight type of thing, um, that it was kind of winding down the day. It was winding down the day and kind of reflecting and saying, okay, what did I do good today? But also, so much of what we do every day, just like driving a car, is going to be shifting gears. So right now we may be just starting our engines and warming them up and getting things, making sure the fluids are good and cleaning off the windshield and the mirrors so we know where we're going. So wonderful. Wonderful. And Leslie saying, based on your great advice last night, I'm tackling the clothes closet. It's so fascinating to me that the verb tackle often comes into use with clutter. I got to tackle it. I got to knock it down. I got to, football it. Okay. How about this? Just for play, because I'm all about playing. And I know sports people play sports, but they're kind of aggressive. How about Leslie? Instead of tackling your clothes closet, you decide to play dress up. You decide to play costumes. These are the costumes I used to wear when I worked in an office. This is the costume I used to wear when I was going to this tiki event. This is a costume I wear in the summer. This is a costume I wear for Valentine's Day. Have some fun with it. Have some fun with it. Okay. Now, I love it. Good morning, Freddie Pepper. That one persona saying "Hey yo" to Cat, and you know it's my habit to read the comments. So those of you who are not watching the screen, and frankly, if you're not watching the screen, that is fine. I hope you're doing something else while listening. So that's why I do that. So Carla Jane, everybody, we're going to send Carla Jane some deep breaths right now. Okay. Good vibes and deep breaths. It sounds like a t-shirt you'd buy at like, a beach uh, gift shop. Good vibes and deep breaths and salt air. So Carola Jane says, I'm taking care of myself. I have an appointment with an attorney this morning. So let's just breathe and get it checked off the list today. Yes, I love it. Okay. Now, here's a fun thing, okay? And yay, Wendy, for letting me know that you appreciate the readings of the comments. I think it would be helpful for me because I can't always be looking at the screen. And Leslie says, great insight into the tackling of the clutter. So, why does it have to be something so beat up? So, she says, I'll play this hour. You tapped into my feeling before I did. And notice how I did that was literally just getting curious about your choice of words. Now, I say words and I'm doing like a little duck, like the words that came out of my mouth, but the words in your mouth that come out of your mouth start in your head. So, and a lot of times, I mean, we fall into, have you ever worked in like an environment where there was a lingo? It's like, oh, well, that's on my bucket list. Well, we got to circle back to each other. Why don't we have some synergy? There's lingo, and is lingo that people use that kind of fall under the umbrella of clutter. Now, lingo to me is kind of words that a lot of people use, but I like to get really curious about them and see if there's a better way of doing that. Fiery angel. I love it. Angela is the fiery angel. I love it. And Cheryl Siegel is sending good vibes to Carla, as am I. And I see a constant amount of little floating hearts. That was really nice. Good morning. Good morning. Yay, Carla. Yay, Carla. And yay, all of us. Yay, all of us. For getting to Friday, February 7th, 2025. Here's the funny thing, random thing. I just realized today is my like half birthday. It's 6 months till my birthday. And I think it's actually my friend Connie who we used to work with. Just going to write down Connie Pete. It may be her birthday today. I'm going to find that out. Okay. So here's something I want you to think about. Let's even talk about the really, really minute things. There we go. Cat Robies is 210. Awesome. Half birthdays, y'all. Okay. Wendy LCM says to the right of the chat box, there is a heart button that you can repeatedly hit to help get attention on the live. And yay, Leos. Yes. So another thing I will just offer to you before I kind of dive into the pool of decluttering is somebody mentioned to me, and you might want to experiment with it. Those of you who want to help gain awareness of Destination Decluttered on YouTube, which I would be eternally grateful for. Notice how we say eternally grateful. That's another kind of catchphrase. But somebody mentioned to me that there may be an option for you somewhere where you can share the share the live here. Now, you don't necessarily need to share it, but you can experiment with hitting the share button and then copying the link. I have been told that that might help. I don't know. Give it a shot, see what happens. But what I was going to get to, let's go back. And luckily, I am pretty good at reminding myself of what I was talking about is this chunking down, calming down your nervous system, quieting down your nervous system, chunking down stuff um, helps it become more manageable. Manageable. You remember they used to talk about making your hair more manageable? You know, it's making it feel like you can manage something, is making things feel doable. And a lot of what helps us do many things is doing something a little bit at a time, eating a piece of toast a bite at a time, taking a walk a step at a time, driving a mile at a time, drinking a cup of tea a sip at a time. Um, Wendy is offering to find the share on the mobile. You need to change to close the chat window, but do not worry. It's only 8:13, 8:12 actually. My clocks are a little bit off. I will be here if you happen to, lose me. I'll be here. But what I want you to think of is the smallest chunk that we can get to, maybe with the decluttering, is a word. Tackle versus play, overwhelm versus abundance, heavy versus light. Now, notice how I'm just picking kind of opposites, but notice that one single word, you switch it with another, can give you a different feeling. You know, I am in control of my life. I am out of control of my life. Just notice how one different word can make you feel different. I notice to myself because I am really realizing the importance of self-talk, internal self-talk, external self-talk, talking that comes out of your mouth, but the talk that stays like somebody totally chatting in your head. So I just offer this idea, this chunk to you, this chunk of wisdom to say, let me just pay attention to the words that just come in unbidden in my head. How is my internal dialogue going in my car, known as my life? Now, I like to think of it as this. We often think of many of us talk negatively. Oh, you can't do that. You didn't lose any weight. You're too old. You're too stupid. Like all the bad stuff. Many times that just comes unbidden. It's an uninvited passenger in your car who's just in the back. You're driving and they're just talking crap. However, you have another voice, but it's hard to hear them when this voice is just chatting and chatting and chatting and chatting. That's why we learn to quiet down, another down, our backseat driver voice, and then practice speaking in the voice of your co-pilot. So even right now, get curious of where in the car is that thought in your head coming from. If it's discouraging and overwhelming, it's probably a backseat driver. And if it's encouraging and chunking it down, I don't think calming, it's probably your co-pilot. Notice as the driver, you have a choice of who you listen to in your car, the backseat driver or your co-pilot. Use that choice wisely. Okay. Now, Wendy, I'm going to just get back to what's in the chat here. Wendy says, make sure to, if you want to share on mobile, you need to close the chat window. Make sure to change the chat sort to live messages, as the top chat will not give you all the messages. Interesting. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it. Live chat, all messages are visible. See, I didn't know that either. Thank you, Wendy. You know what we're doing, people? We're all learning something here. I'm new. I'm newish to the YouTube-ish. So we're all learning something. Do not be afraid to learn something. Do not resist learning something that can help you. Okay? I'm doing it. All the cool kids are doing it. We're learning new stuff no matter how old you are. Okay? Now, Luann says, I'm putting away half of what my bookcase has on it. It was always helpful when dealing with my kids' toys when they were little. Less clutter. I love it. Less clutter, more enjoyment. and then you're going to switch it out in a few minutes. Awesome. Okay, Wendy LCM. I am a stress eater and a stress shopper. I am actively working to not do either in order to keep the gutter, the clutter gone. Okay, I love that. You know, um, and what I would get curious about, and it's funny because that one persona says why with lowercase and just a question mark, why? Not why with capitals and exclamations. Like when you're yelling at yourself, you're probably going to shut down and not hear the answer. But if you're gentle and patient, kind and curious, you may discover an answer. So Wendy, I'm an admin for a YouTube educator as a second job. Oh my, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Wendy, for giving us your advice. That's wicked nice. I truly appreciate it. So Wendy is saying, I am a stress eater and a stress shopper. Look at that. Everybody, and Wendy included, and including myself, we do things in our lives to help us kind of manage our stress. Sometimes that works in the short term, but then it has repercussions long term. If you shop stress wise, you may then build up a lot of stuff in your house. Okay. But what I want to offer to you is kind of in a level deeper, as if we aren't just on the surface, but we've kind of popped the hood of the car, is get curious about what causes the stress. You may be able to eliminate it from its source. Notice I say you may be able to eliminate it from its source versus trying to mask or make feel better the way it makes you feel. You know, like you don't want to feel stressed. If you can eliminate it from its source, you never get to feel it. You know, just something to think about. Now, Angela Fuller says, I say why to myself all the time, but say it in a lowercase. Say it lowercase and curiosity and patience and quiet. You know? Now, this is lovely. This is lovely. Kat Roby is chunking down live from the newsroom. Kat Roby is chunking down her mail. This is really fun because there's a number of ways you can chunk it down. She has decided to measure. I'm going to see where is it right here. Measure with a ruler, okay, her stack of mail. Her stack of mail was 10 inches high, right? So from here to here. And she's already 1 inch down. She's already a chunk down. Yeah. Yeah. Now, why is a wonderful verb. Verb, I guess? No, but you know, the who, what, when, where, why is a wonderful word. But notice about a word is it could be neutral, you know, but also how the energy behind the word. The energy behind the word can make a difference. It can open you up or it can shut you down. When you're being accusing and loud and all caps and a lot of question marks and exclamation points, we read that as why and kind of a yelling voice. But you know what? If it's lowercase and it's just calm and curious, like, you know, just a calm, curious person, why? Why did I eat that second can of Pringles? Well, I like the crunch. They taste good. And I always want the second one never tastes as good as the first. So I'm always kind of recapture that feeling. I ate them because they were there. I was bored. I was treating myself because I deserve a treat. Notice how you speak to yourself, the tone in which you use your words. Now, ADHD people, and maybe everybody, I don't know, many people are oblivious to this, but I am a sensitive person and I can pick up on a vibe, even when it's not even intended. It might be, but I need to be extra cautious of that. I have to make sure that I don't erroneously think somebody's judging me when they're just oblivious to their tone. This is why when we do, you know, we do things to make the words that we use in a chat, we try to communicate the vibe behind it, right? You know? So notice for other people, but also inside yourself, the words you use and the tone you use. And the tone is also an indicator of if it's your co-pilot or your backseat driver. Now, this is awesome because Penny Myers is listening while driving. So you know, Penny, you know that right now you're in the driver's seat, but so you are busy looking out the windshield and doing this and doing that. If I was yelling at you and telling you you're doing it wrong and you should have done this and you should have done that, then you might not be driving as good as feeling as you want. You may say, "Oh, forget this. I'm not going to drive at all." So I go back to the words in your head. You have a choice. If you don't like the words in your head, notice my body is getting in on the coaching. It's putting up its little traffic cop hand and go toot, stop. Stop talking to yourself like that. But don't just stop and then be like, okay, now what do I do? What's the opposite of start? Stop, start. Start talking more nicely to yourself. And the way you can even practice that is whatever you said mean, rephrase it nicely. Okay? Yeah. Cat Ruby. Why? Huh. How about that? How fascinating. Yeah. Now, this is really cool. Yeah. Wendy says, I acquired a lot of clutter and debt from the stress shopping. I don't want the clutter again. Yeah. So finding something else you can do to help you manage your stress, both the stress itself, but also getting to the root cause. And notice the things that we may have done before to make ourselves feel better. Eat food, buy items, collect things. I know myself, that's how I got a lot of things, that I did that to make myself feel good. You're not alone, you know? Now, Wendy says, I've been trying to handle the mail. I love it. Handle. I'm handling the mail. I'm a mail handler. I shred the crude, toss the junk, and make a space for what needs to be taken care of. I use baskets to sort it as it comes in. Okay. Yeah, and this is interesting. Yeah, basket day. Wendy and Kat are bonding about the mail, and I will share this with you. I have shredded mail from 10 plus years ago. I cannot believe the amount of old garbage we had hanging out. You know, Kara's dump day. Yeah, to the dump, to the dump, to the dump. One thing I want to offer you though, on under the topic of decluttering your mail, please do this. It is an active daily process that will take you about 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes max. At the beginning, it may take you a few minutes more, but it is a true investment that will pay off in the future. When you get commercial mail you do not want, please take the minute to find the 800 number for that company and call them up and say the following: I would like to be removed from your postal mailing list. Is that something you can help me with? First of all, when you say, is that something you can help me with? Many people don't want to say, no, I can't help you. So they usually will A, be able to help you, or B, transfer you to the person who can. It is an investment it is so worth it. I know this for a stone cold fact because my mother used to get stacks of mail all day. And so at certain point, I took all her, I had her collect up her junk mail, and I spent hours initially because it was such a big pile. I would do a little bit at a time though. I would do like 5 at a time and I would call up. But then actually I would get in the mode, in the zone, and it wasn't so bad. And so I got her off of an F ton of mailing lists. Now she still is getting some because they're winding down. And some people I'm going to follow up with to be like, I told you to get her off the mailing list. Now, instead of getting tons of magazines and things that also caused her to misplace important documents because they got lost in the shuffle. Okay. So notice what I'm saying is not just the shredding is good. The shredding is like getting rid of the feeling bad, but the getting off the mailing list reduces the clutter at its root. And Kara knows what it means. It's like a weed. You don't just snip it off, you try to pull it out at the root. Okay. So just wanted to offer that because I know mail tends to bug a lot of us. Speaking of mail too, I might as well just mention this too right now because it's about 8:25. So tomorrow is Saturday, February 8th. At noontime Eastern tomorrow, we have a decluttering party. It's the second to last one of this month. We have one on the 8th and then the other one on next Saturday, the 15th. Now, these have been wonderful. We're raising money for a homeless shelter for women with the ticket sales. We are also decluttering ourselves while we do this. So I suggest to you, and the reason I say this mail wise is because right now, seriously, You probably are getting a seasonal increase in the mail you get because it is required by law for you to receive the documentation for your taxes, your annual filing of your taxes. You need to get things. So you may be getting things via email, but also in the snail mail. So if you are struggling with regular mail right now, please sign up for one of our parties and just tomorrow hang out and process your mail while a bunch of us are doing that. I know I have some stuff I'm going to be doing tomorrow too. So if you're interested in that, and I see we've got about 32 people here, I'm thinking many of you or many of us are on the Destination Decluttered mailing list, but perhaps some of you have just kind of found me from YouTube. In case you have, hey, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. My coaching is called Destination Decluttered. And if you want to get on my free mailing list to be invited to the decluttering parties we have, but also know my schedule for my YouTube lives, I almost said TikTok, but I stopped myself. I have just updated the schedule for my YouTube lives from now until the end of the month. It is posted where the members can see it, the members of the mailing list. So if you're a member, I've updated it. And also, if you're not and you want to sign up, destinationdecluttered.com/join, join the mailing list. Okay. So hope that helps. Back to the comment section. Kara says it's dump day. In New England, old timies like me, we call it the dump, not the transfer station. Yesterday, I watched too much news. Yes, notice my traffic cop hand. Please, as a survival mechanism, be informed but not overwhelmed. Notice there's a difference. Overwhelm will shut you down and stop you from doing anything, but getting the right amount, being aware of what's going on so you can take action, but not so much that you want to just go back into bed and throw the covers over your head. Okay. But yesterday, Kara watched too much news. Today, she's doing something different. Today, I'm watching you and making a list for after the dump. I love it. You know? Yeah. And Wendy says tone is tricky as we were talking about the words you use. If someone who is reading the comments is angry, they could put that emotion into the comment when it wasn't there from the person typing it. Yes. And that's a really curious thing about AI is people don't realize the power of words and the power of the MO behind the person saying the words, typing the words, reading the words, the inflection. It is crazy. It is crazy. There we go. I love it. Thank you, Penny Myers, for letting me know you're at a red light and the road trip analogies. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that one persona says good insight from therapy the other day. When you veer off course a little and hit the rumble strip on the side of the road, you correct and you redirect. You don't wreck the car. 100%. That's why I use the road trip all the time. You're gonna be driving along and then you're like, oh, what's that? Oh, here, let me get back on course. So, yeah. Yes, and Kara says, and Kara knows because she's our garden gal, right? Weeds will grow back if you don't pull it out by the root. Some weeds will actually get bigger because you've given them a reason. Oh, yeah, I'll do this, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Wendy, I also deleted TikTok. I am not going back. I need to keep some of this information out of my life from my own stress levels. Yes, I offer, please note, and this is for everybody from whatever you're thinking of, taking care of your nervous system and physical body are the number one and two fights you have, tools you have in the fight against clutter, in the fight against tyranny, in the fight against oligarchy, in the fight against abuse, is strengthening your physical body and your mental body and your nervous system. So part of the MO of a lot of news being 24/7 is to keep your physical and mental body in a reactive, fright-based state. That is not good long term. If those are that's short term, those are meant to be short-term bursts of chemicals in your body when a grizzly bear is chasing you, right? Long term, when you are relying on those chemicals as motivation, or that you're just always they're always coursing through your veins, that can really damage your body. So when you notice that you're getting that way, it can be self-preservation. Now, I'm not saying hide your head in the sand and don't do anything and pretend things are not hellacious, but notice that you will be a better person to yourself and to other people when you learn to create boundaries to say, I'm just gonna read the headlines. I'm gonna donate some more money here. I'm gonna do what I can do. Then I need to put up a boundary and take care of myself because I'm in it for the long term. Okay. So notice this too. And here's a real fun. Go cat go. Go cat go, daddy o. That one persona saying go cat go because check it out. Chunking down. Chunking down. I wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener. No, it's in the other room. Okay. Here's my uh ruler, right? So Kat, let's do this. This is why sometimes it's hard to see our progress, but we measure our progress. Kat started with 10 inches of mail. She said a few minutes ago she was down an inch. She recently is now down. She's already halfway through. She has done half of her mail already, and it's not even a little after 8:30. There we go. Now Kelly Smith says I need to invite Kat over to help with my tax paperwork. Here's a fun thing. You can do it yourself. Notice what Kat is doing, and trust me, I used to stress out like you wouldn't believe and cry when I was doing my tax paperwork. Tax paperwork, I have gotten so much better at this, so I want to help you with it too. If you think about it. Now I see some comments popping up, so I'm going to handle it. But tax paperwork, really at the real chunking it down level is papers that reflect how much money you made last year and how much money you spent on qualified tax deductible purposes. It can be that simple. Notice that's very high level, very neutral, very mindful, very demure. Remember when we used to say that all of a month ago? However, money brings up a lot of emotions and feelings and stories and actions. Why do you think the country is in the situation it is? Because money triggers all sorts of things for all of us. Taxes are money, and taxes are money that have some stories attached to them that, depending upon who you listen to, they help people or they hurt people. So do not be surprised if a simple 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with some black ink on it, typed up, that's in an envelope that comes in your mail, makes you triggers some feelings in you. But what I want to offer is when you think of how it's awful and it's awful and it's awful, you're gonna delay it. And you may make matters worse. But when you open up and say, "Oh, yep, uh-huh. I guess that's how much I donated to my taxes. Donated, I helped other people with my taxes. I helped pave a road with my taxes." Notice the emotions that are triggered by money are huge, and taxes are a category of money that has all sorts of stories behind them. So it makes a piece of paper be more than a piece of paper. Think of it. A piece of paper could be your report card. A piece of paper could be a love note. A piece of paper could be a marriage certificate. A piece of paper could be somebody's last will and testament. But what's printed on it are words, and words make you feel a feeling. Words make you feel a feeling. And when you feel a feeling, you do a thing. If you like the feeling of helping out other people with your tax money, you will not feel bad about paying your taxes. You will feel grateful that you are able to help other people in a way that you put the money into the pot and it's distributed to people who truly need it. If you think taxes are evil and nobody deserves it, and I just mine, and me, then you're going to have different feelings about your taxes, and you're going to resent paying them, and you're going to avoid paying them. And then roads don't get paved, and hungry little kids don't get fed. Now, I know I'm talking in absolutes and there's some subtleties there, but there's a lot more in it than you think. Okay. Now, I got to use my little thing here. All right. Carla Jane says, my BSD, My backseat drivers wanted me to get up, get my fangs out, and get in the mad zone. My dog knows when I'm not okay, and he piled up next to me. Now he's under the covers snoozing on my hip, and I'm not stressed on angry vibes. Yes, animals can pick up a wavelength like you wouldn't believe. They are attuned to a wavelength that we as humans disregard or we can't even tune into. But you knew yourself, and staying in bed and calming down your nervous system is going to help you out. So, yay, pups. Okay. Now, Kara is offering plants, my garden, and decluttering are saving me. I can only control me and in my environment. This is why I'm showing up so rabidly and so often doing YouTube lives all the time, because I want to remind you that you can control your environment and you can control how you feel. I'm following the 36-hour news cycle rule. This chaos is meant to get us to sit in despair. And yes, I saw this other places and I want to amplify it. Joy is a form of resistance. Yeah, because you think of it, somebody tries to scare you, and you laugh in their face. You, you with your little hands, you with your barrel-chested South African thing. Can you imagine being able to wholeheartedly laugh and not be scared? That is power. That's why we use that. That's why we laugh here. That's why we're in the speakeasy and jazz club, as that one persona says when I say, go, cat, go. You know? There we go. Danielle, great idea going back to paperwork. So notice how we're kind of riffing here. We're talking about deep-seated stuff about the world, and at the same time, they're related. As any mail arrived with tax documents, I put them in a separate pile this year, made it easy to gather them so I could drop them off. It really helped. I have done the same myself. Okay, I love it. Hey, this is really cool. Live from Kat Roby doing her things. Fun stuff. $79.85 Costco refund in an envelope. Yay. Yay. Everyone is always finding money. Yeah. The world is an abundant place. You know this because clutter is abundance. You are an abundant person. Now that one persona says, Kat Roby, I wish I had your luck finding money in envelopes. Okay, that one persona, have you opened up all your envelopes? Have you opened up all your drawers? Maybe you squirreled a 20 down in your underwear drawer or something. Maybe you forgot that there was a check that you didn't cash. And actually, finding money is also opening up an envelope and realizing that you don't want to pay for that recurring charge anymore, that you don't want to subscribe to that thing anymore, and you unsubscribe from it. So that's a way you can find money in an envelope, is getting your credit card statement and going through line by line and saying, are there things here that I don't want to pay for anymore? You know? So go look for money. Everybody, we got 20 minutes. Where would I find money? I know that I've squirreled away, some cash for a rainy day because, yeah, I may need cash, but I know where it is. Okay. Um, I have ways, even decluttering your email. You could unsubscribe from a thing that you have a recurring payment on. I know on an iPhone, sometimes you have subscriptions that you subscribe. You could look there. And yes, and money is energy. Man, I highly recommend this book. This book changed my life. Write this down, people. I'm going to write it down because now here's the funny thing. I'm not used to being able to put things in the chat because of when we used to be on TikTok. And let me just do this. It is, you are a badass at making money. Jen Sincero. That, and I know my capitalization was wrong. I never wanted to be a good typist. And so I'm not. I'm better than I was. So money is energy, and our interaction, our relationship with money really is, it was such an eye-opening book, and funny too, and irreverent. She's like our age. I'm like 58. She's within plus or minus a couple of years, maybe she's my age directly. I don't know. But discover and think of it, money is just paper and metal, right? Or whatever, the invisible money. So just know that, okay, yay, reading now. I love it. Linda says, I have at least 5 large boxes of mails. Any suggestions of how to tackle that? Yes. How you start, and notice again, you guys, tackle, tackle. If we were doing shots, we would be on our way to drunk now, and it's only not even 9 o'clock in the morning. So notice when you say, I got to tackle my clutter, I'm going to go back to play. Let's play with it. And let's, one of the things I want to suggest, Linda, and everybody, many people, remember how often you can use this phrase in your day to day. Chunk it down. Oh, I have it on my mug. And actually, I swear, I am going to flip this camera at some point. So these things will be backwards. But right now, you can read. I made this mug for myself. So slow down what you're doing so you can shift gears. Breathe down into your physical body to also calm down your nervous system. Now, I love writing down stuff so my brain does not get cluttered and overwhelmed. But the number one thing I want you to think of with all these downs, and notice that down, 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 chunk it down. Okay, Kat Roby says, I love that we can see and read in the camera view. I know. See, see what a good person I am. I will learn to move my hands better to make it better for you. I give and I give. Okay. So I would say, Linda, chunk it down. Start with one of those large boxes. You know, you have 5 boxes. You have a way of doing it. Wendy is also offering, Linda, and I will say this. I had that issue. I set up boxes to sort into: shred, toss, and file. And it made a huge difference. I would actually add one more to that, which would be action. Action. I want to live. Action. If you say action like that, it makes it fun, right? Verb, that's what's happening, right? Action. So filing, yeah, disco. You're right. Cat Ruby, totally disco. I love the nightlife. I got to boogie on the disco round. Oh, yay. Oh, I could sing the whole song, but I'm not going to. She's going to sing the whole song. Shred and toss are neighbors because toss is stuff you don't care if people see. Shred has sensitive information on it. File is like your tax. Oh, interesting. It is evidence of something that's already been done, and you're just keeping it as proof of something. However, okay, Linda, we got to get you on the disco round, okay? I'm not good in action. You got to practice. You got to practice getting in action, okay? Practicing getting in action. It's the only way you're going to get where you want to go. You don't go on a road trip and you have to start moving your car. You don't start walking, you know? So I would offer this too. Make a box of action items. This is a bill I need to pay. This is somebody I need to call. This is an action I need to do. And then practice starting those starting those actions first before anything else. Okay? Yeah. Oh, interesting. Kara. Kara, yeah. So she's 60 this year. Okay, so she's an old year older than me. She's awesome. Seriously, this book, it's green. You can't see it, but I have a copy of it there. Changed my life. Really well worth it. I swear to God, find a used copy of it, put your highlighter on it. You're going to love it. Now, Wendy is saying, to kind of skip back, because we bounce around between tables here, you know, Wendy is saying on the tossing of the mail. Now, here's something I have thoughts on. On the toss, I ripped off my name and address. I get worried about that stuff. So, Wendy, I understand where you're coming from, but in this modern world, you can still do it. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. If you gave me your last name and your street and your and I knew what town you lived in, I could probably find out your name, your address, your age, your phone number on the internet. So, if somebody also is in your garbage looking to try to figure out what your name is, where you live, they're at your house. They already know you live there. So if it makes your nervous system to feel better to rip off the name and address for fear that somebody's going to find out your name and address, I'm not going to make fun of you about it, but I'm just going to put it into perspective. You guys, have you ever Googled yourselves? Yeah, there is a lot of info on the world wide web, not just some rando going through your trash barrel. So be mindful of those things and take precautions to protect that on the internet. But, you know, just put it into perspective. Okay? Penny Myers is at her first drop off. Heard from a TikTok video yesterday that reposting can help videos of videos. Thinking about trying to do that with Destination Decluttered videos to spread the word to come over to YouTube. Can't hurt, might help. Yay! Penny Myers, you sound like me. I love saying that. Can't hurt, might help. I don't know. Give it a shot. Let's play. So Penny Myers, the book we were talking about, I will say it's called I Am a Badass at Making Money. If you don't want to make money, that's fine. You don't have to. But it talks about our relationship with money. And I am telling you, from an individual human perspective, how this book changed my life. And look at what's going on in our country right now. It's all because of money. Who wants more and who wants to take it away from other people? Much wants more, as my mother would say. Okay. Hoopla. I don't know what Hoopla is. Kara, help her out like that. Okay. Hoopla is my library's audio and ebook app. I'm not buying new if I don't absolutely need to. I am buying new underwear. Yes. New underwear can feel so good. I feel like a rich person because I upgraded my granny panties to new ones that feel good versus the itchy, tight ones. I said, I deserve good underpants. Okay. Yeah. So here, I'm going to do something right now. Hold on. Notice when you're decluttered, you know exactly where your books are. So this is the book I was talking about. Now I'm not doing this hold on. How can I do this? There's my camera. This is not like this is an unsolicited testimonial. You Are a Badass at Making Money. It's the green one, Green for Money. Now, her first book was the yellow one, You Are a Badass. I read this one second. This one is also awesome. And I buy multiple copies of these. When I see them in a free library, I grab them and I redistribute them to people. But this book changed my life in a really good way because it reminded me of the words in my head about money, made me feel a certain way. And when I felt a certain way, I did a certain thing. When I was coming from lack, I was holding on to stuff. When I realized I had abundance, I could more easily get money back and flow again. Okay. Yes. Oh, I love it. Kat Roby says, great book. I always recommend You Are a Badass as a therapist. Yes, it really is. And the funny thing is, okay. Barb Wilson Dean, what an auto pay is my phone for? You might have, there we go. And Kat Roby says, listening to Yabba, that's what I call it. You Are a Badass at Making Money on library download too. Yeah, I literally borrowed it from the library because it's like 10 years old now at this point, maybe. Oh, and look, I even went and saw her. She says, Beth and Cliff, here's to getting fabulously rich. We're working on it. And it's a fun journey. But I don't want to be, I want to be just the right amount of rich. 2017, yes, because I quit my job in 2016 and I was like, what the heck did I just do? That book brought me to you. Okay. So a good app to identify what auto pays are. You know what? Seriously, I think a lot of apps get in the way. Barb, what I would do is look at if you are auto paying something, you are probably paying it from one of your credit cards. I would go to my credit card statement and see what is showing up over and over again. Okay. It's so funny because there are people who are making money trying to make it feel like it's more difficult to do certain things than it is. This is why I keep my stuff so simple. I don't have a fancy planner that you pay $29.95 for. I say go to get a 50-cent notebook at Staples. I say go grab something from the library. Use what you have. So I would go through my credit card statements and say, oh, that's right. Do we still, and I would probably yell down the hallway to my husband, we really do need like tin cans on string. you know? Yes, and yes, the right amount of rich will be fabulous for you. It already is. It already is. And learning to here's the fun thing, you guys. When you have a better relationship with money, you will understand so much why. Think about it. Like, not to kind of veer off course, but it is so true. When you are afraid of not having money, you're hanging on to stuff because you're afraid if you give it away, you can't buy it again because you don't have money. Lack, right? What I offer you as an individual, just ask yourself, put your traffic cop hand out, give yourself some space, and just ask yourself, is that true? If I donated that rice cooker and then suddenly I decided I wanted a rice cooker again, do I have the 20 bucks that it would take me to buy a rice cooker again? And I hope the answer is yes. If it isn't, I do not judge. But what I offer is notice that you have a sense of lack when you're hanging on and grabbing and wanting to take away from other people and not share. I can't share because I don't have enough of my own. But when you realize that you have not only enough for yourself, but you've got a surplus, you're going to be more willing to be like, hey, you want some of my fries? I know that's in one of Jen's books. Jen, we're friends. Notice, seriously, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. Now, I don't like ever saying either of those words. These people in the planet have more, as my mother would say, they have more money than God. They have more money than countries, and they are still so fucking unhappy that they are ruining the world for the rest of us. So if you tell me that there's no correlation between your relationship with money and how you feel as a human being, I just point to those guys. That they're saying, take away money from school lunches and give it to me. I'm a billionaire. Because those people will never be satisfied because they have a hole in their soul that you cannot fill up with money. You know, um, I could go off like that, and I could, and I will at some point. But just notice the scalability of the truth. You know yourself, when you feel like you don't have enough, you're going to be very reluctant to share with other people. Taxes is our way of sharing with people less fortunate than us. And if we've been told we are a victim, then we feel like we're the victim and we need the help. And screw those people who are not like us. They don't need the help because I need the help. And maybe you truly do need the help, but you are benefiting from people are benefiting from things that they're saying cut. They don't even realize it. Yeah, and that one persona is saying, "You just hit the core, like an apple core of me keeping stuff. I may need it and I don't want to spend money on it again." Yes, and here's a better thing. That one persona trying to learn, if I was going to use it, I would have already used it. Yeah. It's really fascinating to say, I thought I was going to be the kind of person that used a pressure cooker, whatever, an Instapot. So I bought an Instapot and then I used it. And then but we used it a couple of times. And then we realized we don't like a lot of food that's cooked in an Instapot, but we just spent money on it. So then we think, well, maybe we'll use it later. We just spent money on it. Then it's down the basement for 2 years. And then finally you're like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be that kind of person that makes chicken fricassee all the time. Yeah, and less stuff is more zen. Less stuff also gets you comfortable with. And I'm not saying getting in any kind of lack, but noticing that it feels better to have fewer items. Yeah, Becky Ridgway, bread makers of the 90s. My God, yeah, remember the bread makers? And it was probably like the fondue pots of the 70s. I wonder what the thing would be of the 80s. Ice cream makers, maybe? I don't know. But notice when you are feeling in your nervous system afraid of survival. When you are afraid you're not going to survive because you don't have enough food, you will not share your sandwich with somebody. You will not share your cookies. You will not share your stuff when you feel like you don't have enough. I don't know if you have enough or not, but if you're listening to me talk about clutter, I am pretty much thinking that you have more than enough. Now notice the difference between, and it's like what's her name? Goldilocks. Too hot, too cold, just right. We are going for just right. Here, let me move this so you can see my just right. My just right is always near my hand, my heart. Okay. There we go. Ron Popeil, Ronco Showtime Rotisserie. Just set it and forget it. That's kind of like what we do in decluttering once you get it into a habit, but I digress. Okay. What I want to offer is I have discovered this with many people, including myself. You don't even realize the abundance you have because your nervous system is still stuck in lack. That your nervous system is still fearful that your abundance is temporary, and if you let go of it, that it's not going to come back into your life. Now look at Kat Roby. She just found like almost $80, you know? I love it when you digress, but it's true. But notice, even today, notice when you're feeling abundant and notice when you're feeling lacking. I'm afraid. Lack will always start with a sentence. I'm afraid that. I'm afraid that if I donate this, I won't have it anymore and I might want it. I am afraid that I'm going to get in trouble because I spent a lot for that, Ron Popeil thing and I got it and it didn't work, you know? Um, so notice when you're feeling in lack, down here, kind of in down here, way down here, and notice the abundance. The abundance. And notice the feeling of abundance is sometimes abundance feels too much. Notice the words we use to describe clutter. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. I feel like I'm drowning in it. I am suffocating. It's stopping you from breathing easily. But when you feel just right, notice to me, and I got a massage this week, and it was so funny because she was doing like the massage on here. I'm like, this to me, no wonder why for millennia humans have said that their heart is, the feeling thing, because there is a center of feelingness, of electricity in us, our nervous system right here, which is just right. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Okay. And everybody's just right is different. So with 2 minutes to go, I encourage you, just observe yourself from a distance. Observe yourself from a distance today. If somebody was following you around today, what would they be taking notes on? Would they notice when you're feeling abundant? When would you be displaying your abundance? Maybe you're sharing, maybe you're giving away, maybe you're reaching out. This is how I know I'm abundant, is I have the time and the energy and the ability to reach out. When I don't feel good, I recede. When I feel better, I reach out and connect, not just for myself, but for other people, you know? So notice if you were observing yourself today, catch yourself in what your lack stories are, right? Now, catch yourself in abundance and catch yourself when it feels just right and capture the moments that you want to repeat. When I go on vacation, I'm always writing down, what did I really like about this trip? I want more of that. What didn't I like? How can we reduce that the next time? Okay. Now, here's a wonderful thing. Yes, LO says, I'm afraid. Notice fear. I'm afraid to toss things. I will get curious about that and let me help you. LO. Notice you have a thought in your head that makes you feel afraid to toss things because you're afraid of something that's going to happen. Head, heart, put a pen in your hand and write down. You don't need to share it with anybody else, but getting your thoughts down from your head and down onto paper, writing it down is a game changer. It's a game changer. Okay. Now, speaking of games, I got to shift gears because I've got coaching, got to go to the doctor today. Everything's fine. Taking care of my physical body. Take care of your physical body today. Take care of your mental health today. I feel like that Snoop Dogg little kid stuff. Today's going to be a good day, okay? You don't have to bring out your AK. I don't think that's how we said it, but I have fun. All right. So, notice there are people talking about air fryers in the comments. Notice everybody's different. Some of them like them, some of them don't, some of them rave. I kind of like ours because I'm lazy like that. Um, real quick, Cheryl, have a great weekend. Everybody, have a great weekend. I highly encourage you, if you want to do some decluttering this weekend, but you're kind of dragging your feet, we're on Zoom for an hour and a half tomorrow from 12 to 1:30. You will get so much done in that hour and a half that you will feel like light as a feather by the time you leave that hour and a half. So if you're interested in signing up for one of the decluttering parties, you know what to do. You're on the mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com. Go to the secret page, RSVP, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Holly Cusimano, nice to see you. Nice to see you. I probably see you on the street sometime. Yeah, we've got oh, yes. And then I don't have a bunch of TikTok lives, or excuse me, habit, YouTube lives for a number of days, but I will be back. Oh, yes, I will be back. So check the schedule. Okay, check the schedule. And I got to do a shout out. Kat Roby, I want to make sure. Got a little check mark. Where was it? Mail done. By the way, yay, tax project started too, and I can share the task with my hubby now. Look what Kat Roby did in just an hour. She is kicking butt and taking names. I want you to do the same thing. But right now, I'm going to kick my butt into the other room and get my day started. I hope you do too. And I will see you next time I do a YouTube Live, or we do a decluttering party tomorrow. All right? Bye, all. Thank you so much.